Galal El-Behairy has been imprisoned in Torah prison in Cairo since March 2018 for writing poetry and some lyrics, pop songs, supposedly criticising the government. So this is for Galal El-Behairy. For whom I cannot speak, and for whom I must speak. Considering my position, how can I presume to speak? Next to a square of plastic grass, the Burmese cat sleeps in the plant pot. Particles of ash too small for the human eye are carried by the wind, settling on the sun-bleached wooden bench where the young mum crouches in a summer dress, wearing tinsel for Christmas, taking pictures of the blonde kid in an elf suit with a mask on his face. Considering your position, how can I presume to speak? Your praise of female strength was willfully misread by those who fear what lies beyond the beard trimmings of their own machismo. In prison now, just like the rebel pop star who stood in Tamara Square, then captured and shorn, now long-haired and strong 7 years later, shouts Balaha, Balaha on a deserted road in a YouTube video, stamping the ground in rebels' boots, glamorous in a cape of fur. The driver yawns in his Toyota Prius at 5 a.m. on New Year's Day, one silver Beetle in a line of Ubers crawling up and down King William Street. The bird woman sits on the steps of St. Paul's. She has sat there for so long, she has become the bird, unseen, unreal, undisneyfied, three generations of herself. Their shadows are etched into the stone. Wood, earth, air, fire, water, dust. Red flares are thrown by yellow gilets, but it is more than Paris that is burning. Two gigantic arms lasso the flaming orb of planet Earth and drive it ever closer to combustion, while high on a mountaintop, two clawed hands hold aloft a bundle of blackened rags and proclaim the ashen birth of the pyrocene. The animals are airlifted away from the bushfire zone. When every day is fire for you, how can I presume to speak? Fill your lungs as full as you can. Think of the sea and stop that shallow breathing. You never breathe deeply enough. Inhale through the nose and out through the mouth. Imagine all that nonsense leaving your nostrils. Screw up your face and force out the air. Thrust out your tongue in a lion breath. Roar. Amongst the gurgle of carbon-filled lungs, how could I presume to breathe? The sea does not know that the establishment commands its tides to coincide with the crescendo of the fireworks that shower neon sparks over Sydney Harbour Bridge. In the violence of dawn, when knives of light slice through the blackout blinds, the nervous system strip lights start their flickering, one single twig of thought tiptoes awake and snags the web of sleep and tears it open. In a high windowed flat in Tooting, a healer's hands enclose my neck, and while a host of white butterflies escape from the vast hole that has opened up at the top of my skull. At night, the juddering beast that haunts the spinal column throws up its venom onto blankets, rips the sheets and scores its lines across a throbbing brow. On Gogglebox, they are watching years and years. 3 generations crowd round a telly, watching 3 generations crowd round a telly, watching 3 generations living oceans apart and fusing with the tech in the walls. The data is housed by dummy hosts, algorithmically constituted and thrice enslaved by base desire, economies of base desire, and economies of base desire's suppression. The gentrified protest too much. It's not that we have nothing to say, it's not that we have nothing burning inside us, it's not that we do not possess the intensity required for a poetic medium. We can blank verse it to kingdom come, scratching verses on the walls and ceilings of the bubbles that surround us. When Twitter told us all we needed to believe, we used to think the echo that we heard was from our interlocutors, but no, we spoke and heard ourselves, redoubled still and amplified. Time stops in a queer house in Catford. When we laugh of unnamed ecstasies and visions, feminism and witchery, self-care and self-repair, looking at patterns of branches and gesturing skywards to we know not what, how can we presume to laugh? Outside the Paris Opera, 27 swans are numb with cold, in white and silent arabesques that say, I am worth more than your economist's calculations. Outside Goldsmiths University, the art students are voguing with their tutors. They are voguing for their future, a block of gender-fucked resistance. They know the revolution will be fabulous. At the altar of the church, the drag queen sheds the armour of her dress and fills the purple smoke-filled air with a Somerville falsetto born of pain, preaching, only love can set you free. And so, Dr. Palmer, you mentioned solidarity in your funding bid several times. What do you envision that looking like? Many hands making fists. I have nothing to say because I have not suffered. Hands outstretched. Oh, I have suffered. Hands in a circle of bodies. I have made myself suffer. Hands which have become a cliche. White pills, white scars, white guilt. Hands which are joined. We confiscate one another's sharps. A giant hand which is also a tree. One particle of serotonin lands. A helter-skelter made of hands. Write when forbidden to write. Speak when forbidden to speak. Love when forbidden to love. A fist of flowers, breaking pills in half in those grey hours. The word itself, now that is love. The world itself, now that is love.